Hi, in this video, we'll have a look at URL path variables. Let's open up urls.py. So we have two paths here. And as you have seen in the last video, to access any one of them, you have to write the exact thing that is there in the URL. Now, many times you will see that there are some paths that have some variable part in it. For example, profile slash, and here comes the name of the user. Let's say it is Rishabh. In some other person's case, it is going to be like John. Now this part is variable part. This is path variable. Now how you can define a path variable in Django is you put the angular brackets, you put the data type, let's say it is a string, and you give it some variable name. Let's give it username. It means the URL starts with profile. After the slash, this part is a variable part. It can be anything, and it is of type string. After this, just like before, we are going to provide it a function name. Let's call it profile views.profile, and we'll give it an optional name of profile. Let's create this function now. Open up views.py, def profile request. Now after request, the other parameter for this function is the username. The name of variable that you will use here has to be matched with this variable. If I have written here username, in the view it should be username as well. After that, let's return HTTP response, and we will use an f string. This is profile page of username, and hence we have created a new URL that has variable part in it, and we have defined the view function for that URL, and we have given the URL a name. In the view function, we create a function that takes in the request and that username as parameter. And finally, it returns the string as the response. Let's run our server. So the server has started. If I reload, you can see it is working. Now we are going to visit profile slash Rishabh. If I press enter, this is profile page of Rishabh. Let's change this part again, this time John. If I press enter, this is profile page of John. So this is how you define path variables. You can have multiple path variables as well. Let's try one. Let's say we have a path like profile slash str username and then int age. So int here is a path converter. It tells Django that age is going to be an integer, and then a view function views.profile not age, this should be to do id, and we are going to call this user underscore to do, and we will call this user to do. We have created a path that starts with the profile, then comes the username. After the username, we have to provide it the to do id. Let's create a function for this. The name of the function must be user to do def user to do. It takes in the request. It has a username parameter, and a to-do ID parameter. And now we can return the response. This is usernames to do with the ID and the to-do ID. So we are just returning the string with the username as well as the to-do ID. All right. Let's go back. After John, we'll write 32. If I press enter, this is John's to do with the ID 32. And this is how you define the path variables in URL. So that's it. Right now we are just returning some text as the response. In the next video, we will learn how to return HTML as the response.